This Dad's Bet Baseball Arizona Diamondbacks team preview is brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, HOFapp.com. Use code DADS for 50% off your first month as 7-day free trial. I don't know why I got lost there. I was actually deep in Hall of Fame Bets last night, using it along with handicaps for some hockey stuff. That is how I landed on Jack Hughes for over 3.5 shots on goal. I should have laddered that, but he crushed that because USA. So but Hall of Fame Bets is an awesome partner. We actually use them. We're not just hawking the product. You can use it for soccer. You can use it for baseball. You can go in there and look at hit rates for every single stat for baseball, even though there are not lines out. We find that to be extremely useful. So Hall of Fame Bets, HOFapp.com. If you are watching this, you can use the QR code or you can go to the website and use code DADS at 50% off the first month. With that, Lee, you are all dark. Where did you go?
Oh, there we go.
There he is. There he goes. We have my buddy Lee, who's now CJ's buddy Lee, who is our resident D-backs fan. He's our resident D-backs fan that doesn't live in Scottsdale and is an insufferable person. I know a lot of those people. But Lee, welcome. This has been a long time coming, actually getting you on this show, and so I'm really glad that you're here for the team preview. What's going on, dude?
Yeah, not much. I know we talked about this a ton coming on. I'm glad to be here. Glad to talk D-backs. I know it's not the most exciting team, but let's do it.
Yeah, dude. Well, for those of you that are listening, Lee is he's rocking a D-backs jersey right now, and it looks awesome. All right, let's quickly go through what this team did. So it feels like forever since that 2022 team that broke the Phillies. But 2023, 84 wins. 2024, 89 wins. 2025, 80 wins. Their pi tag was 82, so they were right on with like what they should have done. Obviously, a 9-win drop, but they weren't tanking, but they sold. But it's a very odd situation that we want to talk to you about. I made their number 80 and I said, all right, let's see what they do at the winter meetings. And winter meetings, they went down to 78.5 from the market, and then they went back up. Now they are at 79.5, 80.5 right there. So right on with what we thought. And here are the guys that are comings and goings. They actually made a lot of moves. So for a team that we haven't really thought about or talked about, they made as many moves as I'd say the Orioles or even the Jays and some of these other bigger teams. Welcome, Mr. Nolan Arenado. He is now manning third base. Zach Gallen resigns. Voorhees native. I always like to point that out. Merrill Kelly, the original CJ's dude, is back. Mike Soroka, who I sneaky think is actually a really good signing. Carlos Santana, who just will not go away, is now at first base.
James McCann. Is he like 52 now or something? Like it's wild.
Switch hits, man. As long as he does that, he's former Philly as well. James McCann resigned. Paul Sewald is back. Yeah, I guess back. Paul Sewald is back. Taylor Clark, Cade Stroud, Josh Groves, Joe Ross, another former Philly, over now there. This team has a pipeline to each other. Notable subtractions: Jake McCarthy, who is with the Rockies now. Blaze Alexander, who's now with the O's, is going to get a ton of playing time because of Westbrook getting hurt. And Kyle Backus went to the Phillies. Also, it's not listed on here, but I would say that a key addition, and we could talk about it, is Jordan Lawler, because now they actually have to play him. And we will talk about that. But Lee, to kick this off, what do you remember about this team last year, both just as a fan and also just what did you bet on with them at all?
I was betting a ton of Eugenio Suarez home runs. I live betted one in like the 8th inning of a game last year. Like I loved watching him play. It was unfortunate he got traded, but same thing with Josh Naylor, betting Josh Naylor's stolen bases, which is absolutely hilarious. What, he's still 30 last year?
Yeah, he had 30. He led the playoffs. It was great.
Yeah. What else? Ryan Nelson. I always bet Ryan Nelson when he starts. He's the ace of the team. I don't care what anybody says. Merrill Kelly's great. Merrill Kelly got traded and was awful in a pitcher's ballpark. So who knows what he brings this year?
Yeah. Well, I look at Merrill Kelly as I always remind CJ when CJ says Zach Wheeler, thoracic nerve, and I'm like, Merrill Kelly had it. And you're like, Merrill Kelly had it way earlier in his career. By the way,
he did. Yeah.
We're not the time to talk about it, but Wheeler just threw his third bullpen session, so that's whatever. We'll get there. But all right. So look, first of all, I actually didn't even know that Josh Naylor was stealing bases until we got to the playoffs and they told everybody that he was leading the league. The fact that you were doing that, you must have been getting bonkers numbers on this. CJ, did you bet on this team day to day? Like me, I know I was really tuned in on Brandon Pfaadt outs because
you were weirdly, that was like one of your guys.
That was definitely one of my guys. Dude, he led the league in wins until like August. He was.
Yeah, the player that I remember betting on, or at least against, I was fading Corbin Burns quite a bit at the beginning of the season because there was like some real indications that he was dealing with something. Like it was just pretty clear.
We talked about that a lot.
Right out of the gate, his velo was down, his command was off, his walk rate was up. So I was betting a bunch of like over-earned runs for Corbin Burns. Corbin Burns probably made that money back because he then clearly started to get into form before he unfortunately did get hurt. I mean, this is another one of those guys that kind of like Michael King when we were talking about the Padres, he pitched 64 innings last year. I have this memory in my head that Corbin Burns had like 4 starts and 3 of them were bad and 1 of them was good, but he was in the rotation till like middle to end of May, and then obviously the unfortunate injury comes back. But yeah, I mean, Corbin Burns was the guy that I was probably fading. I was also, Lee, I'm with you. I thought I'm a Ryan Nelson guy as well. I think that guy has really good stuff. So I was at least backing this team whenever he was starting. And then from the batter side, I think that, Perdomo, he was another guy that I think was like slightly underrated and then almost became a little bit overrated by the end of the season. But you could get a lot of good value on for him to hit a double. His total bases number didn't really catch up in the market until probably around like June-ish. And then from that point on, he was kind of priced correctly. I mean, that guy still ended up having a fantastic season, like 851 OPS, 138 WRC plus. So overall, like that was, I think, I mean, look, Gino had an insane year, and like also you got the good Gino, and then you shipped him off to the Mariners right in time for him to be bad Gino, which was brilliant.
It was so good.
But Perdomo was definitely your, like, I mean, I guess you could make the case for Cattell. Cattell still had another great season too, but I thought Perdomo was still kind of the guy that day to day I would trust the most in the lineup. I'm very excited though to talk about Lawler because that was a guy that I was fairly high as a prospect on last season. And so far, I'm pretty sure if I'm looking here in spring training, he did start actually out pretty hot, and now he's actually dropped down to a 182 average. But yeah, I mean, Lee, what is because Lawler was a very highly touted prospect. I mean, this has got a top 10 prospect basically coming into last season. Like, what is the plan for him? Like, what are they going to do with him? They're going to have to play him.
Center field. He's looked good out in center field too. So this is his shot. Lawler's biggest thing, in my opinion, is his injuries. He just keeps getting unfortunate injuries right as he gets hot. He started off slow at every single level and then just picked everything up right away. So he's got to play. He's going to be in center where I think that's less of an injury risk than playing at middle infield.
Yeah.
But we'll see. He's got the speed. He's got the power. He's hit consistent average throughout the minors. He scuffled a little bit when he came up.
By the way, one guy none of us mentioned is that we all had. I'm pretty sure I made CJ do it. And I know Lee did it, but we all had Corbin Burns MVP tickets, which looked amazing until August because we were all the smart ones there. But so if he's playing center, does that mean? Because I was looking at this yesterday of guys that have been in the.
You mean Corbin Carroll? Corbin Carroll.
Corbin Carroll. My bad. Yeah, sorry. Too many. Yeah, but Alec. So then is Lawler taking? So what happens then with Alec Thomas? Because Alec Thomas is like, first of all, he's bombing, by the way, in spring training, but he's also supposed to be just like a defense first guy. I mean, because he was center field for a bit. Like, is he getting moved, or what's the kind of deal that you think is going to happen with him?
Who knows? He's really changed his stance this spring training. Like, he had this high leg kick, and like he's got a little leg kick now, and he's smoking the ball. He smoked the D-backs the other day when Mexico played them. But
he's got a 471 BABIP right now. Sorry, he's got a 471 BABIP and a 44% hard hit rate and 12%. He's in that list, CJ, that I put out of like guys that are crushing it. He's got like the fourth. He's batting 346 in 24 at bats. Like, it's not nothing. He's got. I stand
corrected. Also, by the way, Lawler's actually having a great spring training. My dash just didn't flip over as fast. He's hitting 400 right now.
You were looking at last year.
He's been great. Yeah.
And then the outfield could honestly be Alek Thomas, Jordan Lawler, Corbin Carroll. But the guy I'm really high on right now is not having a great spring training, Ryan Waldschmidt.
That's your dude. That's your dude. He's been your dude for months. So talk about him.
He's plus 3,500 FanDuel for Rookie of the Year. He does not have odds on DraftKings for some reason.
That's weird.
But yeah, hold on. Let me pull up some. I have this stat on him. I know I'm going to go dark for a second.
I didn't even know about him until you told me about him, and then he just was like he was smoking the ball for a bit.
He's the only player in the minors last season with 15 plus homers, 25 stolen bases, a walk over 15%, and a K below 20%.
Yeah.
So he put it all together last year. If he can figure it out in the majors, guy's going to be a stud. And plus 3,500 is an absolute steal for Rookie of the Year. I know Adam doesn't like to do Rookie of the Year bets this early, but
I mean, on a guy that you think is going to come up and do that. So what position would he? What position is he going to take?
It's between him and Alek Thomas at this point.
Okay. Then you could probably move Alek Thomas, and then a lot of teams like Alek Thomas feels like a future Guardian, just to like put it. I know we just did our episode with Gab, but there's a lot about defense first, has a weird.
See a lot of Trent Grisham and Alek Thomas.
Yeah,
he could just go to the Yankees and become this extreme pool hitter.
If you get a 2025 Trent Grisham with Alek Thomas, that's a very good outfield, assuming that Lawler actually can be the guy that everybody's sort of hoping he can be. And what's actually kind of wild too is you made me think of the fact that you obviously have Corbin Carroll out there as well. And one of the big things with Corbin Carroll last year was everybody always talked about how obviously Eugenio was hitting as many bombs as he was. Corbin Carroll, if you look at some of his stuff from just a pure batted ball standpoint, was kind of insane. I mean, he almost had a 50% hard hit rate, almost a 15% barrel rate, 115.8 max EV. I'm probably getting a little too excited about this kind of shit, but he made some changes from a swing approach standpoint where he wasn't necessarily making as much contact as he had prior in his career, but he also hit for a lot more power. And I think with this team, I forget how much oomph that this lineup actually still can bring, even after
they're
losing
top 5 in runs scored, even after falling last year.
Consistently, their team total, that was the thing. I was just about to pull that up, but they're I'm looking at they were 7th in WRC plus last year.
And that's with selling Naylor and Suarez at the deadline.
Yeah, they held on as long as they could, and then they were just well, we gotta. This just makes sense from a business perspective. But then all those guys wanted to come back. That's the thing that I had heard. Yeah. So I mean, how come? Do you know? What's your take then on? It's Arenado now instead of Gino. I mean, what are you kind of thinking on that? I mean, you want to talk about a pull hitter? He'll probably do really well in that park, but.
Arenado kind of reminds me of the signing of Evan Longoria before the World Series run. Just a guy that you think's washed, that maybe hits 17, 20 homers, something like that. But he still has elite defense. He can coach up the guys that are coming up after him. But I'm not really expecting much. I wanted Paul Goldschmidt back, to be honest with you, at first base, but
yeah, well, I was surprised.
Santana instead.
I was surprised about that because I thought that the Yankees waited a long time on a lot of these dudes, but they don't necessarily, I mean, Paul Goldschmidt, by the way, is having a really good spring, but they don't necessarily have a spot for Paul Goldschmidt right now. Like, you don't want him, what are you going to do, lead him off against lefties over there? I thought that was weird that he didn't go back. But so I guess then what are you kind of thinking then on this team? Because, like, there's a lot that we've talked about on this team already, like 15 minutes in, that is exciting. I mean, this team isn't the Dodgers, so it's a weird way to cap the division, but who in that division are they better than? Like, who, like, is this a top half team? Like, what do you know, what's the ceiling for this team, and then what is likely the floor?
The ceiling is finishing behind the Dodgers, and the floor is finishing ahead of the Rockies. It all depends on pitching, honestly. Like I said, Ryan Nelson is their best pitcher, in my opinion. Merrill Kelly's solid. Zach Gallen, you have no idea what you're going to get. And then the bullpen, holy hell, the bullpen is terrible. Justin Martinez is out until, August? AJ Puck is out until mid-season.
I forgot about Justin Martinez. I drafted him in every fantasy league last year because I was like all excited.
Biggest DGen bets last year were Justin Martinez over miles an hour, because it would be like next pitch 99 miles an hour and he'd do 102 mile per hour sinker. I'm like, yes.
Nice. We'll let them know that for when he comes back. Yeah. So, I mean, the bullpen now is just not good. I mean,
they don't have a single lefty in the bullpen right now.
Okay.
Not a single. They're all
one way to approach it.
And their closer right now looks like it's going to be Paul Sewald.
Probably.
He didn't throw. I think he threw one pitch over 92 miles an hour last year.
I think he threw one pitch last year. I didn't even remember. He was on the Guardians too, because he was and he threw. Because I basically lost track of him after. I remember like Seattle was quote selling, and then they traded him to the D-backs or one way or another, like in 2022, and he lost the closing job to Ginkel, and that whole like committee, and then he kind of bounced around and he just was hurt forever. And now I guess, and looking at this, I wasn't sure that I was looking at the 2022 roster or not when I saw him on here. CJ, you were about to say something.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, Lee, do you want to guess the team? So there were three teams that the Diamondbacks had a better bullpen when it came to Sierra last season. Do you want to guess what those teams were?
The Rockies.
Yep. Ding.
Let me see. The Rockies, the Rangers.
No, not the Rangers. The Rangers sneakily actually had like an okay bullpen last season. They were like
they just never scored.
Top half of the league. They just never scored. Yeah, they did fine pitching. It was the A's, the Rockies, and the Nationals. Those are the three teams that had worse bullpens than the Diamondbacks. Everybody else had a better Sierra in terms of performance over the season. So I guess my point being is like this was one of the weakest parts of the team coming out of last season, and it probably is just as bad, maybe worse, coming into this year. So, I think when you look at like as excited as we can get about the guys in the lineup, if I'm looking at your, the starting rotation, which like there's some guys here that I think we've already said we like Ryan Nelson. Zach Gallen, by the way, was like fine. I know his ERA ended up being close to 5.
They're paying him a lot. They're paying him a lot though for one.
He's also just an innings eater. Like I actually never understood why Zach Gallen was on the market for as long as he was. Like I think just him being a valuable 4th or 5th starter should have had him signed a lot earlier. But Merrill Kelly, as you point out, Lee, we'll see what he can bring. And you will get Corbin Burnes back. It looks like I think he's on track around like mid to late July. So, which will be very interesting to see how they handle that. Cause I'm kind of like, I think if this team is in the wild card or sort of, in the hunt, he's going to be given more leash to come back. Whereas if that's not the case, if it's just kind of a disaster, then we may not see Corbin Burnes till like September. If they don't actually need him to come in. So, I kind of have the same cap on this team that I had coming into last year, which is I think they're going to score a shit ton of runs. I think that they're going to be a really fun team to bet day to day and like for team total bases and team total overs. But I also don't know how much I can trust this team day to day or looking at from a season long future standpoint, I mean, they were in 1-run games last season. They were 21-28, and they were 7-12 in extra inning games. Like, that's right there indicative of the biggest weakness that they had, which was not being able to actually close or finish out games.
They broke the record for most pitchers with a save last year.
How many was it?
I think it was like 15.
That feels like a Brewers thing. It's just I'm looking around at some of their market and stuff like that. Because the thing is about this team is also Lords is out for a bit. Like, a lot of these guys, they're gonna get reinforcements. This looks like it's possibly going to be a different D-backs team in April. Like, if they can hang on in April and May, Burns is indicated he's going to be back he's going to be back in July. They'll get apparently Justin Martinez is probably like sooner, but like Puck is Puck's. It's like his third time he's torn his elbow, so he's just like a mess. But they're going to get Gurriel back. They'll have probably an identity by then. If they hang on, if they don't spiral out of the gate, then if you look at this team from, when baseball starts, really June 1st on, they could end up being like that team that we look at in the midseason for a 6 seed, for sneaky for the wild card, like things like that. I forgot how many of these guys are going to come back then.
And I think that's exactly where I was kind of thinking about this too, Burke, where, the biggest deficiency on this team is the bullpen. But if you can hang around at least until like end of June, beginning of July, when do you have the actually address that need? What is the one part of this you can actually be able to do that? And it's going to be around the trade deadline, where a lot of relievers will be open and be able to be traded. And the Diamondbacks have some prospect capital. If Lawler doesn't work out at that point, maybe you can be able to deal him for something. Like, they have pieces, they have chips that they are able to actually go and deal to address that need. It's just they kind of have to hang on and not be super shitty up until mid-July in order for that to happen. Let me ask you this. So, win total 79.5. We'll get to that here in a second, but Diamondbacks to make the playoffs, yes or no? Right now it's 2-1. I'm not interested in that price, given some of the things that we've talked about. However, I do kind of find the Diamondbacks at the 6 seed at 10-1 is kind of a fun bet. Is that something?
It's that much already?
It's 10-1 right now. And I think this team has just as many pieces to be better, for example, than the Padres. As much as we love the Pirates, I mean, there's from a lineup perspective, the Diamondbacks sweep the floor with what the Pirates have going on there. So I just think there's a lot of teams that the Diamondbacks sort of kind of are right around, and I don't necessarily know if 10-1 is like fair. I think that's might
really long. I'm surprised that it's that long.
I mean, they can't afford any more injuries. If somebody else goes down, they're pretty much screwed right now. That I get the pricing on that, but if, like you said, if they hang around, those guys come back, or you get somebody that steps up, like in the bullpen, like Dre Jameson, who's coming off of Tommy John 2 years ago. The guy's throwing 98, 99 miles an hour. Like, they could definitely be a very sneaky team.
Yeah, it's so funny when I look at this, but having now, I've capped baseball with you guys specifically for like 3 years now, and I've gotten into a good rhythm. This team reeks of like, we're going to make a massive run, that the market's going to be way out on this team. And in June, we're going to be there's going to be a gaggle of people that notice that there's a news that says, Corbin Burns threw a pain-free bullpen session in Arizona, or at his house, because he lives like a block from the stadium or whatever it is. And then this team, I didn't know what to think about this team, but there's a lot more scenarios I see. Like, I know you said that there's no depth, but there's a lot more scenarios I see where this team makes a run like this. I would take this team over last year's Reds team, like in a heartbeat for the 6 seed. Like, there's just a lot of ways there's less flaws on the team because bullpen's going to be variance. Like bullpen, like you could get a lot of good stuff out of this, and they're going to. I mean, what are they going to give? They'll probably give young guys, young arms, a little bit of stuff there too. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I don't think I want this preseason, but this is absolutely the team that I'm circling. Where like I want to see how long this gets because I think this is the team that everybody's going to forget because people are so high on the Padres for some reason. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
CJ, what are kind of as we're kind of wrapping some things up on this? What are some like kind of future or market stuff that you're kind of looking at on this team?
Well, I said it on the Padres episode. I'll say it here again. I think the Diamondbacks to have more wins than the Padres in the head-to-head market. You're going to get that at plus 260. I think that's insane. I don't really see.
I like that more now that we've talked to Lee than I did on the Padres app.
I don't really see as many. Yeah, I just think that these teams are like actually a lot closer than you think. So plus 260 for that. I would bet that now. The one thing I would say also real quick also on that 6 seed piece though, even though I like that 10-1 price, we all agree that we don't necessarily think this team is going to come out guns blazing like that. It's unlikely you're going to see the Diamondbacks, hey, like you're going to see some random Sports Center segment beginning of May, like Diamondbacks first place in the NL West, like time to be concerned about the Dodgers. Like I don't really see that. I could actually make more cases for the Padres, to be honest, for that sort of scenario than I would the Diamondbacks. So I do think if you're going to back this team for making the playoffs, you probably can wait. Like you can probably wait to see if things are a little bit shaky. You just want to make sure that they don't totally fall on their face in the first 6 to 7 weeks. So I think I'm saying kind of the same thing, Berg, as you, in that I'm circling this team. Yeah. I don't know if I want to, besides that Padres bet, if I want to put more liability on them for preseason. I mean, even finishing position, another market that I do like to target for these kind of things. You're not really getting great prices on the Diamondbacks. Fourth is 2-1, second plus 220, third plus 190, and that's really just indicative of I think that the betting market really does sort of lump the Padres, the Giants, and the Diamondbacks all sort of in this similar tier. And, as we've kind of gone through these previews, I think you could make pretty good cases for best case and pretty good cases for worst case scenarios for all three of them. So I wouldn't take any one of the finishing round positions either. Player future wise, though, I'm having a tough time figuring out where I would want to go on this team, because I was kind of interested in Ketel Marte to see if I could get a decent number on RBIs for him. I forgot that he only had 72 RBIs last year. He was not a guy that actually drove in a lot of runs. But he still had 28 home runs as part of that season and almost 500 at bats. It wasn't like he had I just think 72 RBIs for as many runs as that team scored, and as important a cog in offense as he is, it just surprised me given that he still had almost 500 at bats. So I don't know. I mean, Lee, Berg, is there any specific player that you are really interested that you want to get something down on now? Because I'm having trouble figuring out who that would be.
You're gonna call me crazy for this, but Gerardo Perdomo for MVP is plus 6,000. He finished third in MVP last year. Why is he plus 6,000?
That's Ohtani tax. It's basically. I think it's because people don't know. Well, that's the thing. Let's say because one of the last questions I was going to ask, what's the real version of Perdomo? Because he had such a crazy outlier year last year, but that's also what every metric said his potential was, and he performed so well that they're we actually don't even have a spot. They gave away Lawler's position because he's so good. So I guess the thing is Perdomo let me pull up because his stuff from last year, but is he? I mean, is he a 138 WRC plus 11% K rate guy, or is he closer to an 18% K rate guy and a 111 WRC plus? Because it's just he had a monster year last year, but which version is the version that you think we're getting? Is he leading off, by the way? Is he leading off, or what's he doing?
It beats me right now. There's so many different ways they can do this lineup. He's probably in the 2 hole, maybe three. I don't know. He's that high on base percentage guy. He's got one of the best eyes I've ever seen. He walks a ton. I was looking for walk markets. I don't know if you guys can find them, but if you can find a walk market, I would take Perdomo to lead the league in walks as a long shot.
Well, then, does he have speed? Because maybe it's the stolen bases.
He does. He had 27 stolen bases last year.
Let me just look at that before we wrap this up. Stolen bases for him to have. Let me just look at minus 125 for 20 stolen bases. For him to have 30, which we know this team values that, like across, like up and down that lineup. He's not even. They're 380 for him to have 30 stolen bases. That's
he had 27 last year, and he was batting 9th until like June.
That's not a bad bet. I don't hate that one.
I'm going to counter with an even crazier long shot bet, which I would probably not recommend any listeners to actually play this unless you're like me that just got off the craps table and had a good run. If you really like the Perdomo MVP, okay, how does he win MVP? Well, Diamondbacks have to win the division. Like, Perdomo's not winning MVP unless the Diamondbacks, in my opinion, unless they conquer the Dodgers. There has to be a narrative there. He has to have a
30-30 year.
Right. Okay. So Diamondbacks have to win the division. Well, to win the division, this isn't going to be a case of, where you're going to have a division like the AL Central or something where you win 89 games and you're going to win the division. You're probably going to need to win probably upper 90s or like low 100s, okay? So if you're playing into that sort of band, where does that also put you? It puts you in best record territory if you're going to have to get to that high 90s, low 100s. You can get the Diamondbacks for best record for 200 to 1 right
now. There it is. That's it. I mean,
so I'm just saying, if you just
have they done that before? Have they done that even in like the Randy Johnson era and stuff like that?
I don't know if they have. I think the 2001 season they might have. I don't know. I'd have to go back and compare.
They literally have the 10th shortest odds, 11th shortest odds to be. That's crazy. They have longer odds than the Guardians.
Yeah.
And the Guardians don't hit. Like.
It's pretty. I mean, the Reds have shorter odds than them, which is crazy.
Crazy to me.
Anyways, I'm just saying. I'm full disclosure, not telling people to go empty your bankroll on this, but if you really like what Lee just said about Perdomo, and you really do think that there could be an MVP, even not Perdomo, but Carroll, like that's where I would be looking. I'd be looking for some like just insane best record, 100+ wins, something like that. If that's the narrative you're going to buy, because I mean, you're just going to get like an absolutely ridiculous price on it.
That's fun.
That's bonkers.
I think that's fun. Okay. Wrapping things up. Let's go around over. So Lee, you like, repeat again. You liked Waldschmidt for. I think you like Waldschmidt because you missed Goldschmidt, but. You liked him for Rookie of the Year at what price? What'd you find?
Plus 3,500 on FanDuel. It's not listed on DraftKings.
Even better. That's great.
Tommy Troy is not listed on either right now, and that kid is tearing spring training up. He's like Jacob Wilson last year.
CJ, I think I like this. I think I'm going to take this D-backs more wins than the Padres. Now that we've done both the episodes.
It's a good bet. Yeah.
I like it a lot. Plus 260. CJ, did you have the best record? Mic drop. That's fine. That's a good bet. Okay. Go around. Lee, over under. We'll call it 79.5. Over under 80 wins for this team.
Over.
CJ.
I think I'm over. I think most scenarios you're probably in kind of the same range that you were last season, but that was 80 wins. So yeah, I think 79.5. I would definitely lean the over.
I am over as well. I just I'm a Brandon Pfaadt believer, and all these dudes who hated on Ryan Nelson, I'm the same boat as you guys, man. Like when Ryan Nelson moved from long relief spot starter to full-time starter, like he's got he's got a Gavin Williams set of multiple pitches. So I like him a lot. So I think that's good. I think this is an over team. Going to be looking for them for the final wild card. Lee, where do you want to be found? Where can people find you if so?
Yep.
You've cut off.
I was listening to the episode the other day with the guy from the Braves on, and can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
You got me?
Yeah.
I'm on Twitter, X, at Nelson81_. I'm just mouthing off and throwing stuff into the void. So
you're a good follow. You're a good follow. You're a good sports follow. And you're my friend. All right. Well, then for Lee and for CJ, Spencer, we're going to keep rolling on these. We are almost done. We have one more team left for. Wait, did we already record that team? No, I don't know. Did we record the Giants? I don't even remember.
We're done. We're done with the NL West.
We're done with the NL West.
We're done.
I completely forgot.
We're over halfway. Yeah,
we're over halfway.
We are over halfway.
As I like to say, we are over halfway if you're listening to this. So keep sticking around. We are just putting out episodes every day. We just talked about it. We have about 10 more left to do. As we go through, it's our own spring training of the Dad's Bet Baseball MLB team previews.